Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we'd take a look at this. What we've got here, I picked this up last night off eBay. We were a collect only sale, and I bought it spares a repair. And what we've got here is a Dell Precision T5400 Xeon Workstation. And basically, I've been after something a bit more powerful than the Xeon that I built to do some, do my video rendering and video editing and things like that on. And funnily enough, back when I used to work in event management, we actually had one of these as one of our main video production PCs. It wasn't of the spec of this. I'm going back 10 years to when this thing was basically new. I mean, this is a 10-year-old computer, but we had a Dell Workstation. I think it was a Precision, the same as this, or a very slightly earlier one. It was again a Xeon processor, and I think the spec on that one that we had was it had a single 2 GHz Xeon CPU. I think it had 4 gig of RAM and 500 gig hard drive, and I know it cost well over £1,000. This has got a bit of a higher spec than that. This is basically what I saw it on eBay, and it said Dell Precision Workstation spares a repair, and it's a dual Xeon CPU. It's got two 2.3 gigahertz Xeon CPUs in it, quad core. So it's got 8 cores in total in this thing. It came, when I bought it, it had a 1 terabyte hard drive in it, which the guy did say he wasn't sure whether it worked or not, and it had 4 gig of RAM in it. Anyway, I picked it up last night and got it home, and the hard drive is indeed toast. There it is. It tries to spin up, it spins up, tries about 2 or 3 times and then just gives up and just sits there. It won't even recognise on the SATA bus, so yeah, I mean, that's goosed, but I weren't too bothered about that. But what the guy says is that it switches on, but it just does some post beeps and it won't go any further. And I thought, I wonder if it's going to be some like a simple fix. Anyway, so I got it home, and first thing I did, I noticed it used 4 1 gig memory modules in it, DIMMs in it. So I pulled 2 of them out and powered it up, and it fired up straight away. So all our fault was that it's got a bad, it had a bad 1 gig DIMM memory module in it. Anyway, fortunately, it uses exactly the same type of RAM as that some Blade server that I picked up to rob a Xeon out of. Remember, I was hoping to use the RAM out of that in my other Xeon build. Then I realised, someone pointed out to me that it's server RAM and it's not compatible with the motherboard that I was using. It is, however, compatible with this. So I've ditched the 4 1 gig sticks it had in it, and it's now got 16 gig of RAM in it. It's got its standard. It's got the 2.3 gig Xeon CPUs that it came with. I have got actually 2 2.8 gig CPUs, but to use one of them, well, again, I'd have to pull my other Xeon, the little Xeon Workstation that I built apart, and like I say, I modified it. I did file it and put that little sticker on. I could take the sticker off and I'd have 2 working CPUs, but I had a look online, for about just over 25 quid. It's coming from China, so it won't be here immediately, but I managed to pick up 2 3.3 gig quad-core Xeon CPUs and another 16 gig of RAM. So basically the maximum spec on this thing is 32 gigs of RAM, and I think the fastest Xeon CPU on the 771 platform is the 3.3 33 gig CPUs, so I've got them on the way. Like I say, and they cost me literally just over £25, so I can absolutely max this thing out for its CPUs and its RAM. It's good as it is, but for not very much money, I've been able to literally max this thing out completely. I've just got a standard 500 gig SATA hard drive. I've just stuck in this thing at the moment. I've literally just finished mucking about, and I've just put Windows 7 on it. Let's zoom in. I've got my two. This one here is my little Xeon workstation that I built, which is. I'll try and zoom you down onto it, but it's. Oops. It's that thing there, down there, underneath my printer. But I'm just trying to get you. Oops. Get you back up onto the screens. But yeah, this is what is going to replace it. The only thing I'll say is it's absolutely whisper quiet. It's actually quieter than that little other workstation that I built. You can hardly hear the thing run, which is nice in a tiny little office like this, because my office is very, very small. And also being able to leave it on, obviously it's a lot better. I don't know about its power consumption yet. I will have to see power consumption wise compared with that and this one. But then again, it's not going to be running all night doing the renderings. This is what I'm hoping. The one that I built replaced a dual core system, which, say I'd done a 40-minute video, it was taking 8 hours to render it. This the Xeon system that I've built at the moment has cut that to probably just about 3-ish hours from up to 8 hours. It's made a real difference. Now this thing hopefully is like, I think it's like double the power of what I had before. So I think, in fact, when I've put the new CPUs and the extra RAM in it, it'll be considerably more than that. But like I said, that's the whole thing behind this. I just wanted a computer which I can do my video renderings on, and a bit of editing, actually get some more editing into my things. Like I said, with the new workshop, which is kind of got postponed because of bad rain, bad weather, and me getting lots of other jobs on which have took priority. But that will be getting done, getting finished, and like I said, I'll have some more cameras in there, better lighting, and I will actually have footage that I'll need to edit. So I've actually got a computer I can really do it on now. I'm just been literally, all this has got on it at the moment is I've put Windows 7 on it because I don't like Windows 10. I'd rather stick with Windows 7 while I can. I'm perfectly happy with it. I've put Windows 7 on it. I've put the video graphics drivers on it. It does have a dedicated graphics card in it, but that, as again, is something that I really need to address because it's not really brilliant. It's got a NVIDIA GeForce GT 710 in it, which I think's got about 2 gig of RAM on it. It's actually a newer graphics card that's in my old workstation here. That's got a GeForce GT 520 in it. So obviously it's got a bit more graphics power, but I would really like, in fact Andy, my mate over at Vintage Electronics Repair a while back, gave me a it's a couple of years old but quite a high-end graphics card. Now I put it in a box for safekeeping until I got a system that it'd be for some use on, and I can't quite remember where I put that box, but if I can dig that out and find out what it is, I think that's a bit better than what's in this at the moment, so I might upgrade the graphics. But yeah, I really am quite pleased with this. Really am quite pleased with this system. It does keep. I've not set any of the. I've not even put any sound drivers on this thing yet. I've not even connected it up to the internet yet. Like I said, I literally just put Windows 7 on it. I put the graphics drivers on because I just wanted to see what its Windows benchmark or its Windows rating was in comparison with this one. Let's have a quick look what I'm talking about. If we go to my computer properties, we have a Windows Experience Index down there. Let me get this one up as well. My monitors are going to sleep in sympathy with one another. But if, like I said, if we go to the properties, Windows Experience Index, now I think this is mainly down to the graphics cards. We've got a 4.2 score on the old workstation. The new workstation, we've got a 5.2 score. So obviously, you know, for just use in Windows, it's got more. It's more powerful. I've got CPU Z up as well, which is a little benchmarking utility. I've just been comparing the two computers really, and it is, like I say, it is considerably faster, but that's what you'd expect. It's got two CPUs in it compared with one, even though the CPUs are slower in this. They're only it's a 2.3 gig. That's got a that one's got a 2.8 gig, but that's only got one 2.8 gig CPU. This has got two 2.3 gig CPUs in it. Let's have a look at the benchmark actually. We'll bring benchmark up on both systems. We'll do the CPU multi-thread benchmark. We'll benchmark the CPU. We'll do it on this one as well. If we benchmark both CPUs, you know, we can see. I don't know how well this is coming out, but you can see quite well. You know, it's multi-threading. That's at what 1672. That's at 1013. You know, it's obviously it's considerably faster. But the single CPU core obviously is slower. We've got 255 on this one here, and we've only got what's that, 208 on the on this one. But in real life working, it is going to be significantly faster. What I thought I'd do is just a final little experiment. Is I've got what I use to convert my video files down to what YouTube likes, which is a program called Any Video Converter. And what I've done, I've put, let me just get Any Video Converter up on this one. I've copied across a video file. It's one of my videos before I've stuck it all together. Basically, let's install. In fact, let's not install the updates. So we've got the same file on these two computers, and I'm going to just try rendering it at the same time, and let's just see what the difference. Right, where's the other? There it is. I've got a screw under my mouse. I wondered why it weren't behaving there. Let's get that up there. So it's that file there. Let's drag it onto this one. We'll do the same on this one. Let's get rid of that. Right, and what we want to see is how quick. We won't let it render the whole file, but it'll tell us after a few seconds how estimated time to render the file. Like it's exactly the same file on both computers, and just give a quick blow-by-blow comparison, see how much faster this thing is compared with my old workstation. So we'll start them both exactly at the same time, like that. And let's see how long it's going to tell us it's going to take to render these render that file. Well, this one is already telling me it's going to take 10 minutes to render that file. This one is going to take, it's just told me here, 22 minutes 56 seconds. So, you know, we've basically doubled the, well, halved, or under half the amount of time it actually takes to render a file using the new computer. I'll give you a really quick look inside it before I just finish this video, just to show you what's what inside this thing. It really is very, very, very well built. So these were expensive, very, very expensive computers when they were new. let's get you back down onto the computer itself. I mean, the case itself, all this at the front there, that's a solid aluminium panel. That's actually a machine piece of aluminium, or at least a cast piece of aluminium. It's not plastic, like most desktop cases. Oh, that's the other thing. Slightly unusual, this one, that it's actually a desktop. It's not a tower system. Apparently you could get these as either a desktop or a tower, and now it's exactly the same case. Apparently the only difference is this unit here is swapped round and put in that way, so the CD drive's at the top there, as where on this one the CD drive's that way across. I actually thought this was a tower when I was bidding on it, because the chap had it stood upright like that. It wasn't until I picked it up that I realised it was the desktop version. Now I'm going to be going in here anyway, because I want to put a card reader in there. It actually has provision for a floppy drive. This it does have a 1.44 meg drive header on the main board, and I do have, I think it's in, yeah, I do have a floppy drive with SD card support built in it. Unfortunately, it won't read SDHD cards, so it's not really much use. But if I could get one of them that would read SDHD cards, I would definitely stick it in here. But for now, I'll just stick a normal SDHD card reader in there without the floppy on it. But I might, in the future, or I might stick a standard one in there and put a 3.5-inch floppy, just for backwards compatibility, just so I've got a computer in my office that's actually got a 3.5-inch floppy disk on it. I don't know yet. Like I said, that's just something I was thinking about, because it does have the possibility. It has got the connector on the board, and it is recognised in the BIOS as well. Like I was saying, the case is incredibly well built, and it is also humongously heavy. This thing weighs about as much as my AST286, and them things are battleship computers. It is really very heavy. Really nice to work on though. It's very easy to actually access parts. Gain access to the computer, there's a lever at the back here. We just push that back, and the whole side, you notice, just lifts up. You can lift it up like that, hinge it up, and it does just then lift off. But this, it weighs as much as a laptop, just the side of it. It's not like these, these cheap crappy cases you get. There is a ton of steel there. It is very, very heavy. Everything inside is designed really nicely though. It is a well-built computer. It's a well-designed computer. Power supply at the back there, obviously. Optical drive there. Again, I'll swap that out because it's just a standard DVD reader at the moment, and I'll put a DVD writer in there. I mean, very rarely I do need to write a CD or a DVD, but just having that ability in here obviously makes the computer a lot more usable. There's the 500 gig hard drive that I installed. We've got a second bay there which isn't being used at the moment. What I'll probably end up doing, I think I've got a 2 terabyte drive kicking about somewhere. I might put that as the second drive, and in fact someone gave me 120 gig, I think about 120 gig SSD. I might put the SSD as the primary drive, just as the boot drive, and then I'll put like a 2 gig scratch drive as the second drive. Like I said, I was just messing with this thing to see if I could get it actually up and running, so I just stuck a 500 gig hard drive I had lying around in, just to stick Windows on, just to make, get the computer up and running. But again, I might take that out and put SSD in, and then like a 2 terabyte scratch drive. If I'm going to be using this thing for video editing, that would actually be quite handy. Access to the inside is again really, really nice on this. If we lift that up, which is a card retainer, we pull up like that, and that gives us access. In fact, let me I'll take you off the tripod, and I'll just quickly handheld you and just take you in there, so you can have a quick squiz inside it. Okay. So basically inside, if you look here, oops, can we see in there? Yeah. We've got CPUs here, are two Xeon CPUs. Then behind there, as you can see, hopefully you can see that, we've got oops, we've got our banks of RAM. I've got 4 sticks in there, and like I said, I've got another 4 gig sticks on the way from China to take that up to a full 32 gig. We've got our down here. Oops, can you see? This is our Riva GT710 graphics card. I say it's not. It doesn't even have a fan on it. It's just passively cooled. It's not like a huge, powerful gaming card. I don't think so. Hopefully, I've got something I can put in there to replace that. That's going to be a little bit more oomph. Next to that, we've got an additional network card. I'll put you back on the tripod. Like I said, in there, next to that, we've got. Oops. We've got an additional. We've got an additional network card, which I'll probably take out because, you know, I'm sure that was necessary in whatever application this computer was used for in the past. Like I said, I don't know what its original use would have been. It was obviously something where they needed a fair bit of power, or else it wouldn't have the two Xeon CPUs. But yeah. So that, I'm going to nickname it the Beast, because it is a bit of a beast of a computer, even just if you amount the absolute weight of the thing. But yeah, it needs extra work on it. Like I say, I'll probably do when the new Xeon CPUs arrive and the RAM and what have you. I might actually do another video on this thing about doing some upgrades to it. Might do video upgrade, like I said, RAM upgrade, CPU upgrade, and give it a bit of a clean. It's full of dust. Really what I need to do is completely strip this computer down, get the airline on it, get all the dust and fluff out of it, and then, like I said, do all the upgrades to it I really want to do. But I am super pleased to get hold of this. Oh, what important thing, what did I pay for it? Well, bear in mind it was collect only, and like I said, it was only about 4 or 5 miles away from where I live, so I just did a little trip out before I went to see a mate last night, and I paid the princely sum of 25 quid for it. So I think for quite a powerful computer, which should hopefully do for my video editing for a while, £25 wasn't a bad outlay. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little ramble on my new computer. So, thanks for watching and goodbye.